Hello and welcome back to the Data Privacy Lawyer. My name is Funmi Owolabi. I'm the principal attorney at the firm. Today's review, we're going to be looking at some AI terms. So I'm going to just quickly hover over products. So the products for this company are Jira, which I'm familiar with. So it does project management, and then we've got like a collaborative knowledge workspace. I wonder if you can upload documents that might contain personal data on this. And then the service management, service delivery. So essentially, I have a kind of an idea of how these two products work. I'm quite familiar with Jira because I actually use Jira myself. So let's look at the AI terms. So this was last updated October 7, 2025, and it supplements the customer agreement. I'm actually going to quickly click it. The reason I'm clicking this is because I want to see if terminology has been provided in the actual customer agreement. Now, I don't know who a customer of this organization can be. I actually have a business enterprise profile with Jira, so I would be a customer of Jira. And we can look at it from that lens, and we can also look at it from the supplier's lens because they're supplying me a service. I use Jira, right? So they've got the overview. What I wanted to look at was definitions. I think it's really valuable to have definitions, particularly when defining what customer data constitutes. Now, for my own profile, I actually have insights related to freelancers that I work with. So there is personal data that I personally place into the Jira tool. And I think it's valuable to look at this one because this is actually a product that I personally use. So I'm familiar with at least some of the features, not all of the features. That would be something that I would need to be provided if I was counsel for this organization. So I'm going to go back because I didn't see any definitions. We might see some definitions on the AI terms. The reason why on this channel we've been looking at what different businesses are discussing when it comes to their terms and conditions for using artificial intelligence. AI has a lot of overlaps with data protection, which is what we do at the firm. The reason being is because in some capacity, AI interacts with personal data. Now, I talked about my use of Jira. The product that I currently have with this organization, I actually don't have the AI feature, but I'm presuming that some of the other tools that they have do use generative artificial intelligence features. I wonder what it would require to upgrade the current subscription that I have. But if it was in fact that my current use of Jira interacted with AI, I presume that these terms would be applicable to me. Now, something that I think is very interesting, and maybe I didn't review it when I originally got my subscription with this company, is I don't recall seeing these AI terms as part of anything that I accepted when I decided to start using Jira. I'm pretty sure that I was presented with the customer agreement because I have an enterprise use of Jira, but I cannot remember. It was a long time ago. That being said, let's look at the terms. I want us to look at input and output. And I think the other thing that's really valuable if a business is looking for assistance on creating these AI terms, because again, these documents are drafted by legal counsel, and my recommendation generally for businesses is that they should have privacy review these terms, even if it is that there is artificial intelligence counsel that drafts these, because again, there is an interaction with personal data and it should be accommodated for if it's something that customers are going to agree to in their terms. So the AI offerings provide output in response to input, okay? Input and output are customer data under the agreement. So what's interesting is I only took a very quick look at the customer agreement, but I presume there is a definition that helps customers understand what constitutes customer data. My customer data, I am a customer of this organization because I have a Jira product. My name, Funmi Owolabi, has been stored in their system. Okay, so has the name of my freelancers because this is the tool that I use to make sure that we're on track for any projects that they're helping me with. So my name and email address are both considered customer data within this tool because I'm a customer. Atlassian must not use input or output to train or improve the AI offerings across customers. This is really useful. If you've reviewed any of my other AI reviews or audits on this channel, you'll see that there are actually some products and tools that are being offered with respect to artificial intelligence where the input and output data is both being trained and improved by the data that's inputted by customers. So this is a really important sentence that if you are doing a request for proposal with an organization and you want to conduct your own AI due diligence, or even if you're doing your own privacy due diligence, like vendor due diligence, really understanding what it is that you're signing up for if you are going to utilize the tool is important. Is it a risk that your business can accept? Is it acceptable for input or output data to be trained to improved AI offerings by your vendors? How does that implicate your own privacy program? So there's two things you'll need to know. One, what is your own privacy program about? What type of input data do you anticipate will be utilized with the tool? And is it okay for your vendor to train or improve their products? If it's not something that's acceptable to you, you're going to need to look very specifically at the AI terms to ensure that's not something you're signing up for. For this particular organization, they won't use your input or output data, but there are organizations that are using it, and you need to be aware of that. Atlassian must not permit its subcontractors to use input or output to train or improve their models. Something that I think is really important, this is very valuable. This terminology means something very specific in the data protection space. Essentially, I'll just give a very quick overview of what a subcontractor is. When you as a customer, let's say customer A, you're looking to do business with company B, a vendor. In order for the vendor to provide the service it's providing to you or product, sometimes that vendor will also have its own third parties. Those third parties are considered subcontractors. If the subcontractor is going to need to process you, the customer's information in order to obtain the services. So you're definitely providing your personal data to your supplier. And then the supplier, in order for them to provide the service they're promising you, they need to rely on other third parties for different types of components of the service, which means that not only is your personal data going to go to the vendor, it's also going to go to the vendor's third parties as well. And that's what really subcontractors covers. Now, depending on geography, this terminology is not used consistently among every single privacy legislation, but that's overarching, that's what it means. I think that generally when companies use certain terminology, it gives me some sort of insight into the geographies where they anticipate their products and services will be sold. I've talked about severally on the channel about how geography really matters from a data protection standpoint. If you anticipate as a business that your product and service is going to be offered in the United States, in the European Union, in China, you need to look at all of the data protection laws that apply there because you're going to be processing personal data in those geographies. Your obligations do not stop at where you are headquartered. Like, okay, my business is headquartered in the District of Columbia. My obligations are exclusively in the District of Columbia. It doesn't work like that in the privacy space. It works based off of the thresholds that are applicable in those geographies. If the geography dictates that if you are processing personal data of our residents, this law applies, that's what you need to go off of. So back to what I was saying about the word subcontractor. This essentially means a third party associated with the supplier itself, and how it is translated in different data protection legislations is not exclusively using the word subcontractor. But for me as an onlooker and as actually a customer of this organization, I'm able to know that at a minimum, the products are being sold in the United States because subcontractor is very familiar and is used frequently in the United States to address those third parties that assist vendors. I'm glad that they do have some definitions. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. It's really important for businesses to put these definitions, in my opinion. Let's talk about it from a non-legal perspective. The first reason is because sometimes when a business is engaging with a vendor, not every business has legal counsel to assist them when they're doing contract negotiations. Sometimes that is outsourced to someone more senior within the organization, but it's not always legal personnel. If you don't have legal personnel, they'll need to be able to understand what it is they're agreeing to, so definitions really help. The second thing is, for me as a privacy lawyer, if I'm going to be negotiating a contract, I need to know what's in scope. I think that there's a lot of back and forth between different businesses that happens because definitions are not clearly spelled out. If I'm able to reconcile the definition that you've put in as a vendor for my customer, I'm able to address different provisions that I think might be problematic for my customer based on their privacy program compliance. So I really hope you enjoyed this review. I think I've stated the importance of drafting and creating AI terms if you do offer artificial intelligence in your products and services, and then also making sure that your privacy counsel has had a look at the terms you're offering to your customers to make sure it's consistent not only with your privacy practices, but also with the customer's privacy practices, which is why I think it's valuable to offer these terms on the website. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you love privacy as much as me, subscribe to my channel and I will see you in another video.